Good morning, and today I am joined by Olivia Stefanino. She is an author, a speaker, a coach, and she is the creator of the Money Types profiling system, which I am a big fan of. Welcome, Olivia.
Hi, Sarah. Really looking forward to having this chat today.
Yes, I actually, for the purposes of people watching this, I have the pleasure of being in a mini mastermind group with Olivia. We meet up monthly, and Olivia's ideas and the way she works is incredibly inspiring. So I'm lucky enough to be a part of that. So I do know Olivia, and I know all about her money types system. But I guess people watching this may not. So Olivia, would you just explain a little bit about how it all works, please?
Well, first of all, I love being in that same mastermind with you because I get a lot from you, and I love the kind of systemized process way of thinking approach that you have, also with that kind of visionary sort of entrepreneurial bit as well. So I'm guessing there's some magician and architect in there for you. So the money types themselves is really about how we understand ourselves and each other really through the medium of money. Often people are quite scared of money. I put my hands up. I used to be one of them. But actually, when we get a really good relationship with money, then everything else starts to fall into place as well. And I've created a system where there are 6 different types. And those types approach money and life in a completely different way. When you understand those types and which type you are and your unique combination, then you know what your own gifts are, your talents are. But then you can also spot where the traps are for the unwary, and kind of that's your shadow side. So it's a really interesting, quick system to learn that you can apply to yourself and to other people, and you can find out for free as well. We'll talk about that later, I'm sure, but it's something that I found really useful. I've worked with a lot of companies and they're finding it helpful as well, and individuals, just to understand yourself quickly without having to go into swathes and swathes of personal development and other bits and pieces.
And it's really interesting about discovering your relationship with money and how those comments that were kind of throwaway comments by maybe your parents when you were a child has such an impact on now in your relationship with money. So tell us a little bit more about that, because I find that really interesting.
Well, often people don't actually explore their relationship with money because, particularly in the UK, it's one of those things that we don't talk about money. Nice people don't talk about money. So we never get taught that at school either, do we? So we might learn all about wheat farming in North America, but nothing about those things that are probably going to get us through life, which are often to do with emotions, relationships, and money. So that's really what the money types are setting out to help to teach about. But, you know, we do learn that money doesn't grow on trees, or there's never quite enough, or as to what do you think I'm made of money. So money becomes this thing that we're frightened of, that kind of stands there in judgment about how badly we're doing, as opposed to standing there on the sidelines cheerleading us and trying to help us. It's a resource. I always think that money is something a bit like plasticine, really, isn't it? We can choose to mold it into whatever we want to make it. And I think for some people, money becomes kind of a scorecard of their own success. But money isn't the be all and end all, and yet it's a great metaphor for our attitude to life and our gratitude to life as well, I guess.
And one of the things that we hear a lot, myself and Rob, who speak to many people who are thinking of setting up as a virtual assistant, they're really excited about it, desperate to do it, but class themselves as currently in a secure job, with maybe a pension and a decent salary and some kind of, it feels stable. And to jump from that into a place that's unknown, that you won't get income immediately to the level that you have, it's something that you need to build up. That's quite scary for most people. We have worked with the odd person who's just gone, oh, sod it, and they've just literally, you know, single mum scenario, and they've just quit their job, and we're like, oh my gosh, that's brave. But they are in the minority. But for the majority who have concerns about that, what would be your advice for them?
I think you're right. I think it's really good to be cautious because you know, it's easy to make the leap and then sort of make the regret afterwards. So I think that's more probably of a kind of somebody who's got quite an architect in my sort of language personality, somebody who likes to think things through logically and look at the what if scenarios, what could go wrong, which I think are great questions. Also, another great question is what could go right. But I think there's something about planning it. So rather than just saying on a Friday, it's too much, I'm going to start this on a Monday, why not plan it? Why not actually use the job that you're in now to seed fund your future? So you might decide, I'm going to set up in 6 months' time. So what are those things that I wish that I'd have learned at that time, that what resources will I have needed to get together? Will I need to have created an office for myself, for example? Will I need to think about what clients I'll be getting? How will I go out and network, so that you start to build that up in your spare time? So you kind of got two sort of conveyor belts going, so that you can easily just step from one to the other in a planned way. And that way, I think then you're getting the best of both worlds. You're planning how you're going to step across and to move into that new way of working, but you're also not just throwing everything out with the bathwater, which can be scary.
Yeah, it sure can. So, and I guess it depends what money type they are. And you were saying before that people can find out their money type for free. I know you do a quiz, which is really interesting. Obviously, I've done it. So that's quite insightful, I would say. So how can people access that?
Yeah, the easiest way is to go to my website, which is ingeniously named oliviastefanino.com. I'm sure we'll be able to give details out on it as well. The quiz is there, and you can take that for free. If you sign up, again for free, then you'll be able to get a special report, which will tell you about the 9 money stories that most of us are running. We're not running all 9, hopefully, but we're running 1 or 2 of them, and how you can use your money type to rewrite that money story. You'll also get an invitation to join my free online membership group, which is called the Vault Cafe, and that's got all the information about all of the money types, and there you can get your unique money types combination as well. So that's kind of a fab resource, and I'm doing it all for free because I really think that if only I'd known all of this stuff when I was younger, my life would have been a lot easier. But also I'm doing a lot of this work, taking the money types into the financial services world, and that's where I get paid, so I can have the other side of the coin, like the pun, and to make that freely available to people who can take it and use it. Because I think we've all got different gifts, different talents. So if we all get to use them in the best way, then we're all going to be happier, aren't we? And so that's kind of where I'm at. So oliviastefanino.com, that's where you get to check it all out.
And we'll put links onto YouTube with this video as well, so people can go straight there. Now, I know that the money types is obviously about lots more than money, and one of the things that I was really interested to explore a little bit with you is confidence. And again, it's a subject that comes up relatively regularly when we're talking to people who are thinking of becoming a VA. And I think some doubts creep in. Can I do this? Am I capable? What if it doesn't work? What words of advice would you have to people thinking along those lines?
I think they're all great questions, and the fact that that we're all going into self-doubt on occasion is not a bad thing. Am I able to do this? If we didn't have any self-doubt, we would all just go and sort of jump off the edge of a cliff saying, I can fly. So, having a bit of fear in there on occasion is a good thing. It stops us making big mistakes. What we don't want is that crippling self-doubt that kind of keeps us sort of locked in. And very often confidence comes from when we actually step out of our comfort zone, and then that becomes our new comfort zone when we get used to it. And that's what makes us feel exhilarated and alive. Otherwise, we just get stuck in a rut doing the same old thing. Yeah, it doesn't actually make us scared, but it doesn't make us feel very juiced either. And I love the fact that the words confidence kind of come from the Latin. Well, certainly instead of in Spanish, which has a lot to do with Latin. Con means the word with, and fidere is the word for faith in Latin. So it's actually faith with, and self-confidence then would be faith within yourself. So, it's about being able to do things in bite-sized chunks, in steps. So rather than saying, I'm going to become the next prime minister, who'd want to do that right now, but it's more about saying, how am I going to to grow and expand? What's my end game? How would I love my life to look? What am I trying to create? If I can wave my magic wand, how will life be, my career, but also my family life and everything else, and then working backwards to get there. And I think if you can have somebody who can help you every step of the way to get there, that's a really, really good thing. often you can find there are people who, you know, sort of think, oh, I can do this all myself. And yes, you can. It will just take you a lot longer, and there'll be more mistakes to learn from along the way. And I'm somebody that's done a lot of that myself. So I quite like being able to share from my mistakes. I'm sure you're the same as well, Sarah, so that other people can actually learn from that and fast track their way through. So I think that gives you confidence, having someone who's been there before who can help you. But also it's, you know, were we confident in the very first job that we ever had? No, it's really scary if you're going to take your mind back to that time. Or what are the people going to be like? Am I going to be able to be any good at this? And now if we had to go back to that first job, we'd be thinking, it's just too easy, isn't it? So we're always going to be challenging ourselves to be bigger. And that's what nature does. Nature is constantly in a state of expansion, and so are we, not just our waistlines, but also about, you know, expanding who we are, what we're capable of doing. So it is good to have a little bit of that adrenaline. It's like being a speaker. You know, you do get that adrenaline, and you can label it as fear, or you could label it as excitement. It's still the same feeling in your tummy, that slight sort of dry sense in your mouth, but it's what gives you that extra buzz and that kind of go for it. It's what juices us. So it's about how we label it, and understanding that, asking ourselves, do I know what I need to know? Maybe you don't have the confidence because you actually don't know. Well, then go find out. Find someone who's been there before who can help you. And maybe it's just because other people have said to us, oh, you can't do that. Well, often there are people around who don't like it when you step out because that's challenging them. Maybe they could be growing as well, but rather than sort of challenging themselves, it's easy to point the finger at someone else and say, oh, that's not a good thing to do. So don't always listen to what everybody else around you is saying. Obviously take advice, but just don't kind of listen to the stuff when they're trying to keep you small. And there will be people who do that. Probably because they're trying to keep you safe, but there could be all sorts of other psychological things going on there as well. And who better than you to rely on? Because you're going to be with yourself from the beginning of your life all the way through to the end. So this is an opportunity to get to know yourself better, know your strengths, know what you're good at, and also know what you're not good at, and then collaborate with someone who can actually fill in those gaps for you. I am not a natural process, logical, sort of architect type of person, architect in my language. I thought I'd managed to overcome it. I know if you don't invoice, you don't get paid. So I thought I'd really developed that until I started working with some highly architect people. It's like, wow. So now I know as a magician, all I have to do is think, what is it I want to create? How do I want it to be? Or what do I want? And then leave the how to someone else. So we all have things that we're brilliant at, natural gifts and talents, and other things that we can stretch ourselves into and that we can learn. That's what we're here to do, is to learn and expand. So confidence is something that we get by doing the thing that we were scared of. You can't sit there and go, I'll be confident, then I'll do it. Actually, you'll be confident when you've done the thing.
Good point. Thank you. Thank you. Brilliant advice. And something you said there, I picked up on, because really interesting, and again, something we hear a lot of with people in our group of members who are actually in the process of setting up as a VA or running their business as a VA now, and that is other people stepping in and giving advice or trying to stop them doing certain things. And you're right, in, you know, probably the majority of those situations, it's their limiting beliefs or whatever, it's their whatever's gone on in their life, they're scared, and they're stopping other people from doing it. So it is a challenge, especially if that is your partner, or, you know, a family member, or your parents, or a really close friend. I think that's when it becomes a bit of a challenge. And I think at that point you have to kind of step back and go, right, okay, you know, how is it them? Have they, you know, are they equipped to advise me? Have they run a successful VA business? Because we do get a lot of people kind of chipping in, you know, trying to be helpful genuinely. They might run a plumbing business, and they're saying, no, you don't want to market like that. You need to be doing cold calling, or you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. And my question is always, well, have they run a successful VA business? You know, and the other question that I also will be asking now is, you know, is that a limiting belief within them that they're, you know, putting onto you? So yeah, really interesting.
And it's good that you asked them, have they actually run a VA business? Because although business is business, there are different nuances, there are different ways to doing things. And I think it helps to know yourself, what kind of a person am I and who are the best clients that I can be working with? Because people often like people who are like us and who like us. So if you can find someone who you gel with as your client, then that's the way to go. So it's actually about knowing yourself first and then thinking who are the best people that you can serve. So there's a lot of personal development work, I think, that actually goes on, whether we're aware of it or not, when we're working for ourselves. And that's fantastic. And what always happens, and I see it without fail, is that people start off their own businesses. People around them are going, oh, you don't want to do it like that. Oh, that'll never work. And then when it does, because you have the self-faith to keep going even when you didn't feel like it, when it all absolutely explodes into success, do you know what they say? I always knew all along that you'd be able to do that. And so, you know, you just have to say thank you and think of yourself as being the inspiration, the person who's showing other people how it can be done, how it is possible to do it. You know, if I can do it, other people can do it. Be that person who's the inspiration.
Thank you. Yeah, really good advice for all of our members, all of the people that we speak to, and anyone out there thinking of becoming a VA or setting up any business, actually come to that. So I think we've probably got, or we're starting to get an idea of the general money type of a good virtual assistant.
I think there are different qualities that a great virtual assistant needs to have, and it depends what you're looking for as a client as to which VA you might choose. Because I think you find that people who are high magician and high architect are often the people who can run a big organization. I actually ran this on one of the big, or ran this with somebody who's running one of the big departments in a big bank, and he came out as very high architect and very high magician. So he had a great vision for what that department needed to be doing across the whole of London, but was also able to step it down into an implementable plan. So that kind of worked really well. And you need some magician quality to have that vision, not only for your own business, but actually for what your client is trying to achieve as well. And then the architect ability means that you're able to take that idea and manifest it and ground it and turn it into something that's replicable. And I love working with people who are a high architect now. I used to avoid them because they used to make me feel a bit inadequate. But now I just go, wow, isn't that amazing? They can be so efficient and can get so much done in the time that it would take me hours of migraine to kind of sort out. So, you know, so we all need each other, if you like. You do need some joker in there as well if you want to build your business by networking and through, you know, sort of getting out there, people by people. And the high joker people are the ones that kind of connect people and connect ideas, but you can develop these aspects as well. So if it's not you that's a high joker, either connect and collaborate with somebody who is, or build up those skills for yourself. They're all learnable. The angels are the ones that want to help other people, which is a great attribute to have, but make sure that if you're in a high angel that you don't go into its shadow side, which is to keep giving everything away and leaving yourself out, because that will lead to burnout and then on to resentment. And then it's very easy to blame the clients, but actually it's you that hasn't set those boundaries in the first place. So they all have a high side, or a light side and a shadow side. So it's good to kind of work out what's going on there. If you're only architect but not very much else, people will find it hard to connect with you. Because you'll come across quite kind of rigid or pedantic, even if it's architect without anything else. So you do need this combination of them, of the money types, to be able to connect with people. People want to feel that they can trust you and that you understand where they're going and what they want to achieve, and that they can leave it with you to make it happen. That is a complete joy when you're working with people who are VAs. Trust me, I am. It's great. So you're doing a fab job, and we need more VAs out there, I think, because the way people are working is different. I think there are going to be fewer people going to work in an office and more people sort of setting up, doing their own thing, and they're going to need support teams to make that happen. So I think we're seeing the world of work shifting and changing. People will be working more from home anyway. And even if you're doing some VA work for somebody who's in a job, that still means they've got more time to do their job, even if they're not running a business. So I think this is a perfect time to be setting up as a VA, if that is your sense of calling and if that fits in with the rest of your life. If only I were a higher architect, I could do it myself, but nobody'd want to employ me. So it's a good thing you get the right people doing the right thing, doing that.
I don't think anyone would want to employ any of us. After we've had our own business, we'd be an absolute nightmare. I'd get sacked within a day, I know. So let me ask you then, you're a user of virtual assistants. So I'm going to pick your brain from a couple of different angles on behalf of all those lovely people out there looking to get clients. So here you go, guys. Here's someone that would use a VA. So Olivia, if you didn't have a VA at the moment and you decided, right, I need a VA now, where would you go looking for them? How would you get one?
That's a really good question. The place that I would go would be somebody who I know would be using them, or somebody who I knew had trained them, or somebody I want them to be referred. I want to work with somebody that, if I don't know them personally, that somebody that I know and trust has been working with them, or knows their style, who knows that they can deliver. There's always going to be a bit of a learning curve to begin with, where you get to know each other and how each thing works and what you want each other to do. But you want to have that sense that you can work with them in the longer term, that there's somebody who's sort of there for you, almost like your right hand. So it needs to be somebody that you can like. And of course, we tend to gravitate towards the people that we know and like anyway. So it often is a referral thing, a networking thing. So personally now, if I weren't all set up in the way that I am already before we met, then I'd be coming to you, Sarah, and saying, I know that you train people in the way that you work. I've been in this mastermind group with you, so I know how you think and how you operate. Therefore, I know that the way that you are is going to be the right thing to fit for my business because I know you. So it's about that referral. People buy from people. So I suppose you could extrapolate from that as well and talk about sort of social networking. People, get recommendations on LinkedIn or Facebook, or it is that you want to know that other people have tried and used you. And I guess if you're starting out, like all of us, even if you're giving something away for free, you can give it away as a try this and give me a testimonial, give me some feedback so that I can start to use that in terms of marketing collateral, if you like, moving around, because people want to know that you know what you're doing and not just, oh, this VA is lovely, she makes my life so much easier, but how? What's the difference that you actually make to someone's business? How much time are you saving them? How much more money can they now be bringing into their own business as a result of you having you in the business? So it's about being able to measure that. That becomes your credibility, really.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's really useful. I'm sure it'll be very useful to everyone watching this as well.
Good.
Just one other question, because we stalk people who are potential VA users. So I mean that in obviously the nicest possible way.
Of course.
What social media channels and websites would we find you on?
You would find me on Facebook, you'd find me on LinkedIn, and you'd find me on Twitter. You'll find me somewhat reluctantly on Instagram, to be honest. I'm making a bit of a foray into there. It does my head in a bit. I just don't think that way. But that's where everybody's hanging out, isn't it? So got to keep down with the kids, right? And I think there is an argument for being on Pinterest as well. But I think the main ones for people in business probably are LinkedIn. And then on a more personal basis, Facebook. And yeah, Twitter is kind of cool in that everybody likes to tweet things. I do have a bit of an idea that everybody's so busy tweeting stuff out that when does anybody actually read it? But maybe I'm just a cynical former journalist, who knows? But LinkedIn, Facebook, I think are really good places to start. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, when I find clients for my own VA business and when I'm teaching people how to find clients, LinkedIn, definitely, it's a biggie. And yeah, I would say all of my own clients are on Facebook and Twitter, to be fair. Yeah. So, and going down the Instagram route now, as I am like you, a bit reluctantly, but that's been really, really useful for me. So it will be extremely useful for everybody else as well. Is there anything else you would like to add, Olivia?
No, I think I want to say thank you hugely for inviting me to do this, have this chat with you, because that's just always exciting anyway. And I think there's just something about, you know what, just be brave, have fun with it. This is about life. This is about excitement. And it's very easy to remain small, but we weren't born to be small. I think there is a phrase, isn't there, that ships are safe in harbour, but ships weren't built to remain in harbour. And I think that's true for us as well. So challenge yourself, have some excitement. You'll be amazed at just how capable you are. There, I've got to leave it at that, I think.
Fantastic words of advice to finish on. Thank you so much. And we'll put all the links below the video so that people can follow them. If you're wondering what on earth we're talking about, angels, magicians, prisoners, architects, you'll know exactly what we mean. I'm sure you've got a good idea now from Olivia having explained some of it, but once you've done the money types quiz, you'll know exactly what we're talking about, and it will be tremendously useful. And there is a great community that Olivia runs to do with money types, where you can ask questions, and you can join that for free as well. So again, we'll put the link below.
Bless you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thanks very much.